Hi, everybody. Welcome back from lunch. I hope you enjoyed, and especially welcome back for your deliberations, which we appreciate more than anything else. For those of you who have not had the misfortune of meeting me, I'm Andrew Greenberg. I'm the conference director for Siege. So if you want to tell me how great it is, that's wonderful. If you want to tell me what to be corrected, there's folks out there who will talk to you about that. But I really want to thank all of you for coming out. All of Siege has been growing tremendously, just like the Georgia game industry and the entire U.S. game industry. The size of this investment conference has grown. The quality of both the judges and the people presenting has grown. And just to see these rooms fill and having to put you guys into bigger and bigger spaces has really been great. We really appreciate you coming not only to this part, but if you want to the rest of Siege. We've talked to Jay and Rob, and at their request, we're making passes available to those to the judges for the entire weekend. If you are interested, please email info@ggda.org, Georgia Game Developers Association, ggda.org, with your name, title, and affiliation as you want it to appear on your pass. So the growth is what we're here to talk about, not only of the Georgia game industry, but the industry in general. And there's some great people out here who really reflect that growth in a tremendous way. I wanted to introduce a few people before our panelists. One, our keynote for tonight is Rand Miller, right down here in front, creator of some little games called Myst and Riven, which have really driven a lot of people into the industry. The amazing thing is once people become gamers, they stay that way. And I think Rand is one of those people, more than almost anyone else, who has brought more eyes and more intelligent people into this industry and, of course, spending money in this industry. So we appreciate the games themselves and the people you brought to the industry, Rand. I'd also like to introduce Nick Lang, our Saturday night keynote from Turn 10 Microsoft, senior producer over there. They really do some wonderful cutting-edge games, and this is something we've always liked to do, is people who've been forward-thinking visionaries in the industry and folks who are very much seen as the cutting edge, and usually they're the same people. I think that's true this year as well, but in this case, we definitely have a good look at the growth and continuing explosion of the industry. I would also now like to introduce to my left someone who can really set the scene for how the game industry is doing in America. Rich Taylor has been a great supporter of Siege for years now, and as has the Entertainment Software Association. And I especially appreciate the work they have done on behalf of our industry, fighting against censorship and pretty much every other sort of threat that gets thrown up in front of us. From having seen our industry belittled as meaningless and really a danger to society, now where it's embraced by everyone, is not only a major change, but it really is significantly due to the work of the Entertainment Software Association. So, I'd like to introduce Rich Taylor. And secondly, have him kind of set the scene for not only the growth of the industry, but where we are now.
Hey, thank you, and it's great to be here, great to be back at Siege. It's been a few years since I've been down here, but I've been here for a few different iterations, and I just love the game development community here, and I'm like kind of jittery and thrilled to be in the presence of Rand. Actually, this is a game that means a lot to me. It's one of the ones that propelled me to the next level of wanting to be a part of this industry at a relatively young age. I'm only 22 now, so as an infant, no, that's probably not year-wise. But I actually have a question for you afterwards too about
Still can't get
something
past
else.
that
No, it's great. Fantastic. So that's what this industry is. There are things that we can all think about and touch us in some way that connect us to this industry at some point in our lifetime, and we just never ever really lose it. And that's what's unique about it. You see people bounce around, mercenaries for jobs, and we're fortunate to have a job in an economy like we have. That's great. But a lot of folks in this industry are there because they love it and they can't leave it and they don't want to leave it. And we just recently, ESA is located in Washington, D.C., as you probably know. And literally this week, Monday, we moved to a new headquarters. And one of the greatest things about the new headquarters is, unlike our old office, which was fine enough, this one actually allows us to really showcase games in a different way. And one of the highlights is going to literally be sort of a walk-through video game museum, if you will. So it'll allow people when they visit, they think they're coming over for one thing, and then they're going to see a Magnavox Odyssey sitting there, or they're going to see a GameCube or whatever it might be that was that one that got them. And that's how we're going to resonate with people in another way. So that is Rand did that. I had no intention of going down that path, but he inspired me to talk about the love of the game, and that's really it. And we're fortunate not only to have an industry that is something that can be emotionally compelling, but it's also an economic powerhouse. It continues to grow. What's unique about it over many industries, especially in the entertainment space, is literally everyone plays what we make of all ages. We just finished a survey with AARP that showed, I think it was 40 million, is that right? 40 million seniors are playing video games. The most popular click-through on the AARP website is game-related. And obviously, you just back up from there through the generations, folks are playing games throughout. So, we're at the age now where you have the first group of parents who grew up with games, so it's not this alien life form that's trying to invade their home and destroy it. It's actually a welcome part of the family and the community and the bonding. And so the opportunities are only going to grow going forward. I'm here with my colleague Rich Dillio in the back. Give a wave. His name is Rad in the office because there can only be one Rich in the office. So he's been nice enough to go along with that. He handles our research. So we do a lot of great research. I mentioned the AARP project. We've done research. We're looking into esports community, how folks are playing games during their commutes to work, how it's helping improve their lives there, the habits of PC console gamers, a whole scope of those. We have a lot of more research to come. So if you're interested in kind of the things we're doing in that regard, I commend you to Rad back there, who's fantastic and can help answer questions. But I'm here to paint just a general picture. ESA is fortunate enough to represent this industry, and we've had many battles, and some of them have been ugly, and we've gone all the way to the steps of the Supreme Court and prevailed in protecting this industry, and it's something we take pride in. What we've seen, though, in the aftermath of that is a increasing recognition and acceptance of what this industry is, both as an art form and an economic driver. You've got the White House embracing it. You've got the Smithsonian displaying it. These are real bellwether moments in this industry that were pretty inconceivable probably a decade ago. So we're teed up to have an amazing next push of success as an industry. But that's not to say we're not successful now. You're going to hear some figures here in a moment about what's happening right here in Georgia. And the story here is particularly bright, by the way, thanks to the leadership of folks like Andrew and Sante Bradford, who I don't think is here now. But Georgia's been the community. It's really been leaning in on interactivity and innovation, technology, and games in particular. But we're seeing a story like Georgia repeat in different places, in different pockets around the country, and is resulting in incredible growth. Some 1,600, I think, development studios are out there right now, 150,000 people employed in this industry, and that just continues to grow. And what people are recognizing is that folks who are in this industry are here to stay, or if they're not here to stay, they at least have skills that are going to help other industries as well. So the future is very bright. We're in a great position to be able to represent it and to talk about it. But, I want to not talk in the big scope of ESA. I want to narrow it back down to why we're here to talk more specifically about Georgia. I will just say that I'm going to be around if you want to chat more or learn more about what Entertainment Software Association's trying to do on your behalf, whether you're a current member or not. And we're here fighting the fight for you to help make the ecosystem a hospitable one for you to thrive in. And we want to continue to do that. And if you want to be a part of it, we'd love to talk to you about becoming members. But more than that, we'd just like to be your friend in the meantime. So I'm here, Rad's here, and look forward to meeting you one-on-one as the day goes on. Now I'll turn it back to you, I guess.
Thank you very much, Rich. Appreciate everything you all are doing for the industry. And what we're doing right now is we're going to be providing a sneak peek at the research we have done on the Georgia game industry and economic impact upon the state's numbers, and very much we follow kind of what they've done. But today's only a sneak peek. If you want to get the full look at the research that we've conducted, come to the ESA session on Saturday, tomorrow, at 2 o'clock, and we'll go into greater depth there and release more of the information. You should all have probably the handout that we've done on it with some of the highlights of it, and it gives me a great pleasure to introduce Jay O'Toole, who's been our chief researcher on this from Georgia State University. So, Dr. O'Toole.
Dr. O'Toole always makes me cringe a little bit, even though it's true. Jay is fine, and
got a pain right here.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I've been studying the game industry for a while now. My dissertation work was on the game industry and startups and new product development initiatives, and since then I've grown to love this industry and I really appreciate the commitment the folks that I interact with on advancing knowledge and understanding both about the industry as a whole, but also basic science knowledge. So first I want to just thank everyone in this room, because you give me an opportunity to really explore interesting ideas and questions and advance knowledge in this world. And one way of my showing my thanks is really to participate in this economic impact report, or the economic contributions for the state. So when Andrew approached me about working on this project, I said, absolutely, it's a lot of fun, and it will give us a better understanding here locally, what is the true impact for all of us, not just those in the game community, but also our state as a whole. So I'm not going to go over all the numbers here, because that's on your paper, and that would, maybe you won't come tomorrow, so I've got to leave a little bit of a teaser. But I can tell you that we had a really great response from this community. Over 35% of vetted game development studios responded to our survey request. The methodology we approach is an input-output model, which is a standard economic impact model. We used multipliers from the RIMS, which is provided by the Center Bureau. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're established through large-scale macroeconomic data to give us a better understanding of using the primary data that we get through your responses to be able to extrapolate out what is the overall impact for the state. By using that data, we were able to impute essentially those who didn't respond. So if you wonder, like, how can you make some of these assumptions? Well, it's because we have those folks who did answer our survey, and then we can impute for those who have missing data, and then we use mean replacement for those who did not respond. So right now we know that there's at least 113 active operating game studios in Georgia in 2015. The census that I've been working on, part with Andrew and partly on my own, includes over 200 potential game developers here in Georgia. For the portion of this economic impact report, we only used those that we were able to vet, that we knew, at least based upon our primary data efforts and secondary data efforts, that they were existing. I think it's exciting. I mean, 2005, 8 studios-ish. Now, 2015, 113. You can see on here over 350 games released or in distribution from Georgia-based companies, employing over 3,000 individuals just in this industry alone. I should point out very quickly here that this does not include real money games. So we specifically designed this study defining this industry without real money games. So this is most of the folks in this room, although there's folks in this room who do real money as well. These results do not reflect any of the real money gaming industry here in Georgia. So with that in mind, I mean, this is a pretty impressive, with 550 million plus overall impact for the state economy. That's pretty impressive, with over close to 12,000 jobs, if you think of not just the direct jobs within the industry, but then how that money flows through and how it impacts other firms' hiring, the hiring by others. That's a really, really important impact that this industry has for the state. And I would expect, and hopefully we'll continue to do this over time, that we're going to continue to see that growth in the years to come.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for all the work on this. Really appreciate it. So yeah, as Jane noted, we did not include any of the gambling companies, no Scientific Games, no World Touch, no Cadillac Jack. You start throwing those numbers in, even though really higher out of this industry. We all know there are a lot of folks out of the video game industry that the gambling companies have hired away. And someone waving in the back, because he's one of those. if we start adding those in, these numbers will really start shooting through the roof. So just the entire game industry in Georgia is tremendous. And I'd like to note that I got an email from the ESA based on our numbers and theirs. We are now the 7th largest game industry in the country. So yeah, thanks to all of you guys. And again, from 8 companies in 2005, 2 when Turner Interactive collapsed and everyone else collapsed back then. We were really down to 2 computer game companies in the state back in 2000. So it's been a tremendous growth. We're going to keep doing these studies, so we really appreciate anyone's input on these down the line. So we will be reaching back out to you. And certainly after this investment conference, I'm expecting a number of new studios to be added on to our list. So one more time, please, if you want to be attending the rest of the conference and you're one of the judges, email info@ggda.org with that information. Join us at 2 o'clock on Saturday for the ESA presentation, where we'll go over the rest of the survey. The rest of the story will be there. And thank you, both of you, for joining us here, and really appreciate the work that both of you have done now for our industries. So
Thanks for having us here.
have a great rest of the investment conference.